So before I get into today's pattern, I want to announce the winner from the last video of the hat and mug giveaway. And congratulations to Steve Elliott. Steve, check your comment, send me an email, I'll get the hat and the mug in the mail to you. So today's pattern, I think it's pretty cool. It's called the Abbey, and you might have heard of the Abbey. It's a very classic wet fly. In fact, it was in Mary Orvis Marbury's favorite flies in their histories from the 1890s. But I found it in Mike Valla's classic dry fly box. It was the first fly in there because they're in alphabetical order, and it's called the Abbey. But this kind of just goes to show you that really any fly out there, any wet fly out there, you could tie it as a dry fly. Now I have no idea what this fly imitates. Maybe it's a March brown because it's mostly brown with a little bit of red and a little bit of flash in the body, but I'm thinking of it as probably just an attractor dry fly. But either way, it's pretty cool looking and definitely a fun one to tie. So there it is in the vise, the Abbey tied as a dry fly. Pretty cool, sleek little classic Catskill style dry fly looking pattern. Tying this on a size 12 standard length barbless dry fly hook, and I'm going to use black 70 denier thread. Just go ahead and catch this in anywhere near the middle and take it to the back. Or no, you don't need to take it to the back, I don't think, just yet. Here's where I'm always torn. Flies where I'm doing, or dry flies when I'm doing an upright wing, I can't ever remember if it's best to tie the wing in first or do the tail and then tie in the rib and body material, then do the wing, then wrap up the body. This one, I'm going to tie the wing in first. So it's Mallard flank fibers. Just a couple of tufts of these right here, and I will actually spin them together so they're not married. And then I'm going to catch them in with the tips going forward. Hang your thread about where you want them to post up. And according to the picture in the book, this was a pretty tall wing. It was actually higher than the Hackle. And Catskill style flies do have some pretty big hackle. So take a look at this and flip that up. Is that going to be high? Yeah, that's going to be a little higher than the Hackle. So I think we might be okay with that right there. Let's go ahead and snip this in the back. And I'll try to smooth this out a little bit before we stand these up. Okay, that's not that smooth, but it's going to work. Okay, so I think we got them where we want to post them up. So I'm going to lift them up and then put some wraps, several wraps right under it to almost get them up to 90 degrees. That's pretty close. Now we'll want to split them. You could use a bodkin or just grab them with your fingers. I just grab it with my fingers, and I'm going to put a couple of X wraps, you know, you could call them figure 8 wraps, whatever, in between them. So there's a couple going one way, and now let's do a couple going this way. We do want them tied a little bit spent, you know, maybe not that much, but you know, almost. So I'm going to put a couple more wraps right here. You could even put a wrap around them if you wanted to kind of bring them back together, but I think what we got right there is going to be just fine. Now we can take our thread to the back to catch in our tail. And the tail is just going to be a pretty small tuft of brown hackle fibers from the same hackle that we're going to wrap as a collar here in a minute. So let's do a little pinch wrap right here, see if we can make this work. Okay, is that going to be enough? Yeah, that is going to be plenty right there. So a couple of medium wraps right there. I want them to lay kind of flat. I'm going to have a little bit to trim right there because I got some scraggly ones, stem butt ends coming off the front. So just give me a second here. Okay, and that's going to work right there. Now we got two more components. We got a rib and then some floss. And the rib, small Mylar tinsel, silver on one side, gold on the other. I want the silver showing, so I'm going to catch it in with the silver toward the hook. Just right there. A couple of wraps is going to be fine. Now let's catch in our red floss. Okay, now we're going to bring our thread right up here behind the wings where we're going to stop the body. Obviously, first thing we want to wrap is the floss, and then the rib will go over it. And you can treat floss kind of like a thread, you know, spin it if you want to cord it up, make it a little bit tighter. spin it clockwise or counterclockwise if you wanted to lay a little flatter. I think flatter is going to look better if you can just make sure you cover all the body here. Okay, that body's got a little bit of a lump in the middle, but we're going to be fine with that. And sometimes you can hide the lumps when you wrap your rib. Sometimes you can't, but you know, so be it. Just wrap this rib up to behind the wing. Try to get them evenly spaced if you can. If you don't, I wouldn't worry too much about it. And well, I'm going to worry a little bit about it because one of those, you know, slipped on me and it's kind of ugly. So let's back this off. Back a couple of these wraps off and try again. Okay, that's a little better looking. I probably shouldn't have worried about it. It was still going to be a fishable fly, but yeah, I wanted it to be a little bit pretty anyway. And now we're going to do some dry fly hackle, brown. And you notice I've stripped a few more barbs off on one side. That's the side that's going to wrap to the hook first. So, and that will just kind of keep the barbs coming out more perpendicular to the body. Sometimes. Doesn't always make a difference, but sometimes it does. And I left that stem in going forward and wrapped several wraps going in front of that wing. So there we go. Now I'm going to try to get, let's say, 2 wraps behind the wing and then, I don't know, 3 or 4 in front of it if I can. See what I'm talking about? Those wraps behind it are coming off perpendicular for the most part. Now we'll do at least, let's say, 3 in front of it. Okay, I think that's going to be fine. Let's catch this off. Okay, pretty bushy looking fly, but you know, I'm liking that so far. Let's take care of this stem here, this excess. And now just pull these back a little bit, a few wraps right here, make room for our whip finish. And like a lot of Catskill flies, you do have a good bit of room right there behind the eye. And I guess the original Catskill dry fly patterns, they tied them on with a turley knot, which nobody has to do that anymore, but that may be why they, you know, some of these flies end up like that. And I've trapped a couple of fibers going forward, which is a little bit annoying, but yeah, we'll be able to take care of that. Okay, bear with me a second here. I'm going to do a little trimming up front. And I think we're fine right there. We can put some head cement on that. You can take your singeing tool if you wanted to burn those little nubs up there, but as long as you can get your tippet through there, you got a nice fishable fly. So that's it, my friends. I appreciate you watching. Y'all take care, and we'll see you next time.